Dragi gledalci televizije Subotica, dobar dan. Današnja emisija posvećena je jednom čoveku koji nam dolazi iz Engleske, tačnije iz Cambridgea, pored Londona, a izuzetno je vezan za naš grad, za našu državu. U pitanju je Aleksandar Stemp, gospodin koji piše za magazin Budapest Times, koji je već 10-ak puta bio u našem gradu i napisao je zaista jedan fantastičan tekst o Subotici, o lepotama i posebnosti koje naš grad pruža. Tim povodom ugostili smo gospodina Aleksandra Stempa u našem studiju i razgovarat ćemo sa njim upravo na ovu temu. Mr. Stemp, for the start of this TV show, welcome in Subotica, welcome to Serbia.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I have in my hands the Budapest Times article, where is the text about Subotica. You wrote that text.
Yes.
Can you explain us when you get idea to start to write about Subotica?
Okay. Subotica is one of my favorite towns in this region, and I've been here plenty of times to have sufficient knowledge of writing an article. I wanted to write about my impressions, the atmosphere, and give a sort of overall kind of roundup of the Subotica and other areas like Lake Palić and how to get there, how to get from there. It connects with the Budapest-Belgrade train and that kind of thing. Just to create a good impression for anyone who wishes, for anyone who's curious enough to come here.
What is the special here in our town for you?
Okay, from a very personal point of view, I simply love the town hall, the cherry red town hall and the synagogue. Those are sort of the two most prominent features of the town, but I'm just very proud to have been inside both of them, and I just really I have a very strong connection with those two. And then to add to that, I'm very fond of the local people as well. They're always very welcoming and cheerful, and so I'm always happy to be here.
You get attention about the buildings in Subotica in this text, so we can see the synagogue, the town hall, and when you was first time here, was you introduced with our culture, with Art Nouveau style, which is really famous in this part of Europe?
Yes, I was, because there's the art Zolnai arts, ceramic influence in Hungary as well, southern Hungary, Page, Szeged, and also sort of Timisoara, Timișoara, which is all relatively nearby, close by. So yes, I have had experience of that, but not in England. It doesn't really feature in in England.
When we're back 10 years ago, how you make a decision, for start your journey to Subotica?
It was mere curiosity value. I came here, I knew nothing. I just took chances, and first time I came, I cycled from Page to Szeged, and I came via Hegyes-Hallom, Sombor, Subotica, Palić, and then on to Szeged. That was the first time I did it, and it was great.
And what was your impression when you arrived here?
Oh, it was fine. It was great. It was great. I mean, I think what was important back then, there wasn't so much travel information, at least for English people. For local people, yes, but for English and for real outsiders, probably not so much, or at least I couldn't find any. So I then just took a chance and just came and looked around, and they dropped the visa, obligations for EU members. So that's a privilege. But now there is sufficient information. The tourist informations, there's more media, more Facebook and connections than ever before. So finding a way around here is far more easier than it was 10 years ago.
During these 10 years, from your first visiting of our town, will you notice some changes in people, some changes in environmental, or any other changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has sort of has sort of developed somewhat, especially in tourism. And I think other things that has also brought interest to this region, the Exit Festival, Novi Sad. I went there 5 years ago. I saw madness playing there, who were a great English band. And so, yeah, so I think with that, and also people have to travel to the Exit Festival, they travel through Subotica, perhaps, you know, had a few hours here before going on to the festival, and then looked around, liked it, and then, so I think the Exit Festival was probably a key, you know, essential part of the development of tourism here, certainly for a young person's perspective.
You describe our city in this text. What do you think? What is really special, and what is the soul of this town? What is your opinion?
Oh, I think the Subotica, when it's in the summer, in full sunshine, really to me has a very sort of Mediterranean atmosphere. I think that to me, you know, that's the soul of Subotica.
And about the people, you introduced a lot of people to Subotica?
Yes, yes. I came across, you know, one or two sort of tour guides and some people in the shops and hotels and the tourist information. Yes, yes. But pushing that aside, I'm quite an independent kind of person. I don't mind my independence. I'm not always so needed to be, you know, sort of looked after, as it were. So I like my independence, but I like to socialise too. Yes. So.
You was traveled a lot around Europe, and you was in many countries, especially on East Europe.
Yes.
Is that something that you always want to find out? What was happened inside the East Europe during the times when the Europe was how to say?
In transit.
In transit,
in
yes.
transit.
Yes, in transition. Yeah.
Well, regardless of any transitory going on, simply from a personal point of view, my life circumstances brought me here and to Budapest, where I live with my wife Esther and 3 children. So that was my life circumstances. It simply brought me here, regardless of, you know, any other sort of ongoings in Central Eastern Europe. And then when I settled down in Budapest, then I took the chance of visiting all the neighbouring countries, quite often by bike and sort of by myself, sometimes with the family. And then I sort of slowly tapped into, you know, what was around me, and it's sort of Ukrainian familiar.
You were born in Newcastle, far north of England.
England, yes.
It's almost Scotland.
Almost, yes.
Almost.
Yeah, it's quite close to Scotland.
What the people in Newcastle know about Serbia?
Well, once again, there is a bit of a kind of slight sort of underdog impression, because there's still a sort of, I hate to say this, but there's sort of a few hangovers from the sort of the Yugoslav war period. Sort of, I don't want to get too political here, but certain people still sort of think, oh, Serbia, well, okay, I might go there, might not, kind of thing. They probably have more, you know, I think the English people still like going to Spain and Italy for their holidays. But I think what's been a really fantastic turning point in sort of fortunes in Serbia probably was the Exit Festival, because then people from Newcastle, from everywhere, then started to go, because all their favourite bands were playing there, and then they saw Serbia in a different light, and they liked it, and they thought, oh, this is great, I will come again, and they have come again. So I think festivals like the Exit, and I think even Gulcha, which I really want to go to. I haven't been to Gulcha, but I like Gulcha, and I like Boban Markovic. So that's another entree into Serbia. You know, I saw him in concert, and I thought, well, that's another good reason for going to Serbia, to go and see him. So things like that. It's not so much the political, because politics is kind of, you know, sort of difficult to deal with, but it's the cultural things that will bring people here.
What do you think after this text in the Budapest Times article? Will the people from Hungary, because this article is for people in Hungary, as I understand you?
To a certain point, yes. As I come from the other side of Europe, once again, I have to remember my place with my pen and with my computer. You know, I wrote. Yes, it is written for a Hungarian audience. But I'm also aware of certain, you know, say sort of back to the world of political sensitivities. I'm trying to write it for a universal audience. So I'm using your names, so Hungarian names, Subotica, to try and have as much balance in all my articles as much as possible. I don't want to be sort of one-sided. And after all, who am I in all of this? I'm from the other side of Europe. You know, I like to think I came here and observed. And the fact that I came here and knew nothing meant that I could see this environment for the geographical, the physical, the natural environment. And then I got closer to the politics and the history. That's what came afterwards. But before that, I knew nothing and just saw it for its natural elements.
So I want to ask you, will the people from England, for example, for Newcastle or for Cambridge, will they get the wish to start their journey to the Serbia and to visit the Serbia?
Yes, I really think
after this
so.
text.
Yes, that's the whole point. Yes, I mean absolutely. I mean the focus is on the culture, and I think nowadays with so many sort of media networks on Facebook, there are kind of Cambridge, Serbia societies, Newcastle, sort of football societies intertwining, ice hockey, whatever, intertwining England with Serbia. So there's so many more of these kind of things that sort of bring people close together.
From the point of view of middle-aged England tourists, what they need, what they need, what the England tourist in the middle age need when he visits some destination.
In Serbia?
For example, in Serbia, yeah.
I just think just come with an open mind. The same applies with Hungary, Slovakia, Ukraine. Just come with an open mind and just go with the flow. Everything is here. This place provides. You don't have to be hungry. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be rough. Everything is provided. And just take it for what it is. And sometimes you're better off being here than being sort of back in sort of Western Europe.
When we introduced each other, you mentioned me that you noticed that the only fools and horses are really popular here in Serbia still. So is the same case in England?
Yes, very much so. It has appeal. I mean, it is a bit dated. It's very much focused in England, Mrs. Thatcher era, 1980s. So in that sense, it has dated. But it still has the capacity to move the heart. And it is funny. I mean, it is deeply funny. It focuses on sort of human emotions. And these three characters who are trying so hard to make it, but yet somehow they just can't manage to do so. And but yet, the audience really love them, and somehow they shine, even so they never really quite make it in life.
What do you think? Will the England have the England the same trotters in this modern period?
Yes, I think so. Yes, yeah. Probably not in Cambridge, because Cambridge is kind of elitist, but certainly in sort of Newcastle and in London. Yes, I think so. Yeah, there's a kind of Del Boy phenomena. Sort of when Del Boy has carried itself from not just being a sort of character on a market square, but he's become a kind of a fixture, a sort of stigma, even a sort of stereotypical kind of person who's a sort of nice, friendly kind of guy, but lock up your valuables should you invite them to your house, that kind of thing.
But for other side, when you arrive here in Serbia, you can see the trotters on every corner.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're kind of good guys. If you get on the right side of them, if you want the best but you don't ask questions, then brother, I'm your man. I mean, that's the signature song at the start. That says it all.
So, what do you think? What is the same for people here in Serbia and for people in England? What is the same? Are we have something? Are we have something same as the people, or we are completely different?
Probably. I mean, I sort of once again sort of slightly political. I mean, England is probably sort of a bit more developed, and I think since only Horse and Horses from 30 years ago, England has developed much more. I mean, there's more kind of hypermarkets and sort of mega stores and shopping arcades, and that's very much what 21st century shopping as compared to England, the 1980s, where there were more market stalls and one-to-one shopping and personal shopping, and trading. And I think I see more of that in Serbia today as compared to Western Europe now.
You was in Belgrade, Novi Sad,
Yes, Niš.
and Niš. And can you compare those cities with the cities in West Europe? In some.
Yeah, I think as soon as one crosses the Subotica border, there's a feeling of a sort of Mediterranean element. Because when you come here and it's 40 degrees, full sunshine, everyone's on the streets and the cafes and the sort of under tall trees. There's a real Mediterranean atmosphere, which I really like. And I think when you the further south you go, the more oriental it becomes. I think by the time you reach Niš, then you really are, like, to my mind, sort of on the border between it's on a cultural border, not a political, cultural border between sort of what is Europe and the Orient. I felt that in Niš quite particularly.
We're going back on story of town of Subotica. You wrote here, finally, for those searching for Yugo nostalgia, there is, or definitely was, a Yugo Temp park called Yugoland, 10 kilometers south of the town, and commemorating all things Yugoslav during the twilight years of dictator Josip Broz Tito. So you was in Fort Yugoslavia.
Yes, and that was also 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was staying for one night at Palic, and at the same time there was a wine festival going on, just by total chance, and I was by myself, and I was like sort of sitting on a bench by myself, and then this person came and approached me and sort of sat next to me and started speaking to me, and he was the kind of the owner of Yugoland, and he sort of invited me to go there, so I went there for sort of sheer curiosity.
You was in many countries in ex-Yugoslavia, and will you notice some develop when you compare of other Eastern countries?
Developments.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that doesn't always necessarily want to go to developed places. I shy away from the big shopping centres or from the commercial nightclubs. I mean. It's always a comfort to know they are there when I want them to be there. But sometimes I don't want any of it at all. I want the open fields, the green hills, and to have complete, total abandon. Sometimes, that's not everyone is like that, and I don't, but I try and have sort of contrast between the both. I never wish to compare any place to which is more developed or what, because I think, okay, Western Europe might be more developed, perhaps. It's not always necessarily better off. With development comes the crowds and overcrowdedness. And that's one aspect of sort of Western Europe and England that I struggle with, is that it is really crowded because of development. Too many cars, too many infrastructure. Sometimes you can just be a bit overwhelmed. And if you go to somewhere like, sort of in the middle of Vojvodina, you can just think, it's great to be here, I can feel my senses now, my spiritual senses.
Everything is flat here.
Yes.
So at the end of this conversation, are you planning to back to Subotica and still visiting?
Love to, yes. It's not too far away, so absolutely, I'd love to come again. Yes, very much so. So to go to other areas in this area, yes.
Thank you for this article. And
it's a real pleasure.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and thank you for all these beautiful words you wrote here in this article. And I
made one mistake with the article. I got confused and mixed up with the local food. I listed and labelled certain sausages and various kebabs wrong. Somebody wrote in to point this criticism out to me. So I made one mistake in that article. You can't be perfect.
We will get you time to
remedy it.
Yeah, definitely. So, Mr. Stemp, thank you again for your visiting.
Thank you.
Be my guest here in the studio of TV Subotica.
It's a real pleasure.
And thank you again for this really wonderful texting and these wonderful words in Budapest Times magazine.
Well, it's a real pleasure. Well, I hope I'll come again.
Thank you. Dragi gledalci, evo imali ste priliku da vidite jednu malu lepu priču vezanu za gospodina Aleksandra Stempa, koji je zaista puno proputovao, ali je zavoleo naš grad. Naš grad zaista ima dušu, zaista ima svoje posebnosti i treba zaista da se potrudimo svi zajedno da to i negujemo, a i da zajedno unapredimo mnoge stvari u našem gradu. Gospodin Stemp je samo jedan od mnogih ljudi koji dolaze u naš grad, iako mi to možda i ne primećujemo, i koji nose pozitivnu sliku iz ovog grada. Ja se iskreno nadam da ćemo u bliskoj budućnosti imati priliku da razgovaramo sa još nekim gostom koji piše o našem gradu u magazinima van Srbije i koji na najbolji način predstavlja naš grad upravo kroz to pisanje. Do nekog narednog gledanja ja vas pozdravljam i pozivam vas da i dalje budete uz televiziji Subotica. Svako dobro.